Hey everybody, Chuck Barone. Thursday, September the 22nd, 2022. A lot of stuff to talk about today, guys. I want to kind of give you guys the interpretations of the stuff I've been reading about Powell's comments. Gives us a really very good indication of what they see coming. So stick around for a minute, okay, guys? As always, I just want to thank everybody for their support for the channel, for watching the videos, and everything you guys do to make the channel a success every day. We appreciate your guys' support very, very much. In the markets today, well, not a big surprise with the Fed's tone yesterday. Stock market today not having a great day, down pretty much all day across the board. Just not a lot of good news in the market, a lot of gloom. Everybody kind of coming to the understanding now that this is going to be a little more than they wanted it to be, and the market is adjusting to new expectations as far as earnings and some other things that markets trade on, right? So the stock market not looking good now, not looking good today, and probably not looking good for a little while until, you know, these inflation numbers start to actually moderate a little bit, and they feel like the Fed's making some headway in this fight, because we've seen rates go up like crazy. We haven't seen inflation come down like crazy. The main driver of the reason numbers are coming down at all is because of gas prices coming down, which we all celebrate that, don't get me wrong. But when the core numbers are going up, well, that's not a good sign for the future inflation numbers, right? So stocks down, and not a great place to be right now. Bond market today, boom, kaboom, the market. Finally, reality coming home in the bond market to give them a real jolt. Market down, of course. That means rates go up. 10-year today, 3.71%, almost 20 basis points higher today. That is a colossal leap. That's announcing to the world the bond market's coming to grips with this stuff. Wow, that's a very big move. It's substantial for the markets. It's telling me, and I'm, of course, pass this along to you, the market's coming to reality now with where rates are and are going. It's going to be painful, guys. You know, we've become accustomed in this society now to borrowing money for everything. Just, it's so easy to do. Money's been cheap for a long, long, long time. Super cheap since 2008, but really very cheap since 2000. Now, I really believe that era is ending. The era of easy, cheap money over, ending. Now it's going to go back to what would be considered, at least in the classic economic sense, a normal rate environment, where people who want to borrow money, it's not free and easy anymore, and people who save money actually going to get a little bit of a reward for saving that money. So the bond market today, crack. The dollar today, still the king. It was down super small number, sitting at 111.26 on the index. That's a really high number. It's putting pressure on all kind of stuff, as we've talked about. The dollar, you know, a strong dollar is great. It really is for Americans in our country, if we were producing the goods here in this country. We import those goods. Now we're saving some money on imports, but it's killing the margins for internationals, for these companies that are U.S. companies but import so much stuff that's assembled and put together overseas. So this is going to cause, the strong dollar is a problem, because it's going to hit earnings now. And what happens is these guys now get in the market, start hedging, because they know they're going to have to convert so much of their foreign currency they're getting into dollars. And it just creates all kind of extra jeopardy for these companies, where even if they they don't take a big loss as far as the exchange rate goes. The hedges cost them money, and it just all starts spiraling. It's not good. Strong dollar, metals, not good news for metals, down tiny today. Gold sitting at $1,672 per ounce. Silver at $19.71 per ounce last I looked on Kitco. I think metals actually, even though they're kind of creeping down a little bit, are holding up exceptionally well in the face of this incredibly strong dollar. Now, when I say incredibly strong dollar, don't give me my lashes in the comments. I'm talking about against the other currencies in the world, not in the supermarket, not at when you fill your tank, or not when you do anything spending money here in the U.S. Oil today, down small, or actually up small, $83.62 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate. Oil's been in that same basic trough between 80 and 85. We've been watching that. It's kind of been where it's lingering. We're looking for a breakout, upside or downside. We'll keep you guys informed. Natural gas today. It's an interesting day. Actually, it's been an interesting week for natural gas because it was down pretty big the last few days, down more than 10% one day. Now today, down 7% more to $7.20 for their million British thermal units. Natural gas, these prices look pretty attractive compared to the $9.20 it was just a very, very short time ago. Maybe if you're a natural gas user, now would be a good time to buy some futures and stock up for wintertime, right? Bitcoin today had a late rally to go into positive territory, sitting at 19,324 last I saw. Bitcoin's, kind of looked like it was going to test that 18.5 earlier, had a little bit of a bounce back up, and like I said, last I saw over 19,300 and change, and hopefully holding its own. It needs to find a place, a number, where it can start to consolidate again. It's just been bouncing around. I guess it's been not in a very, it's been in a trough, but not a very, it's like between 18.5 and 23,000 or 24,000, I guess, which it might have poked over that a little bit, but it's just been kind of not. I would like to see it settle for a second and start consolidating, start building some real support at a number higher than the number it's sitting at currently. Economic stuff today, the big news of the day, of course, was unemployment claims today, coming in as expected, 213,000. The market is still super strong. Actually, they revised last month's unemployment down from 218,000 to 213,000 as well. So the jobs market's strong, making the Federal Reserve go crazy. They really believe that, I wish I could be a fly on the wall at one of their real meetings, real conversations, because, they can't say that it's because they pumped trillions of dollars into the economy where they were having this inflation. Now they want to blame it on workers who are just trying to get enough money on their paychecks to pay the necessaries, the basics of life, which people can't even afford now. And the Fed wants to blame it all on unemployment. It's this. These guys want more money to get hired. They want more money to stay on their jobs. They actually want businesses to pay benefits. Oh, shocking. Wow. And that's kind of where the Fed is targeting right now. And actually was interesting in this papers that we were talking about yesterday, I was going to talk about today. The Fed releases a lot of information yesterday. So they're projecting next year that their unemployment rate will reach 4.4% sometime in 2023. That's not great. I don't know if that'll be high enough for the Federal Reserve to do what they want, if that'll slow the economy down enough. But that would be 1.5 million people losing their jobs. And that's kind of the Fed, they're what they want to do with the economy right now. So take due notice and be careful, guys. It looks like the Fed wants to slow employment down and kind of really put a dent in it. I don't think that the corporate world is going to object too much to taking the power workers have been having recently and giving it back to management. Anyway, be warned, unemployment likely heading up 1.5 million people probably going to lose their jobs, and these numbers, their guesstimate, that doesn't mean that's like etched in stone. It could come in at 4.8%, it could come in at 4.2%. I mean, it's just, but the bottom line is, more unemployment coming. I was reading over the Powell's remarks. Guys, he basically lays out, if you can kind of translate Fed speak, and Powell's he speaks a little more plainly than a guy like Greenspan did, who it was like trying to figure out what the hell is this guy saying. Powell's a little more blunt, I guess would be the right word, or straightforward. So let me give you a couple of quotes, and then my translation of what Powell means what he's saying. Now, the truth of the matter is, his remarks were shocking to me because there was no. Usually, they try to soften it up a little bit. They want to deliver bad news. They want to deflect the blame from themselves, but they want to soften the message so it doesn't create a panic or where they can say the Fed said this, so therefore we must do this. So they always kind of round it a little bit. But let me give you a couple of quotes I thought. He said, "Soft landing chances are likely to diminish." Now, we've been joking around about this soft landing thing for a long time because I got to see it to believe it. I always said, when you hear the word soft landing, picture the Hindenburg exploding. What Powell is saying here is there's not going to be a soft landing. Okay, the recession is on. It's going to be ugly. People are going to feel some pain. Okay, Powell goes on to say, quote, "Nobody knows whether this will lead to a recession, and if so, how significant that recession will be." Okay, I think that Powell pretty much can, this is a really funny one to me because nobody knows whether this will lead to a recession. I think we can all know, nobody knows anything 100% with certainty, right? But this is about as close to 100% certainty as we can get. We're going to have a recession, and I'm sure St. Jerome from Jekyll Island, and he's got enough brain power around him to know this as well. Then the finish, though, was interesting language, I thought, where he said, "And if so, how significant that recession will be." The word significant was what caught my eye there. I think that maybe that was a slip, because usually they would say how deep, how long, they would choose a word that was a little more ambiguous. Significant tells us, or at least in my interpretation of it, that this recession is going to be considered significant. And that means it might even be a little bit worse than I've been thinking it's going to be, and even some of the more negative guys about their economy we watch on YouTube. Powell goes on to say that his commitment to bringing inflation down to their 2% target was unconditional. That's the quote, unconditional. So in other words, he's telling the market, doesn't matter what the stock market does, doesn't matter what the bond market does, doesn't matter how people's 401ks are looking, they're going to go through with this fight. Now that's what he says. Let's see what he does, right? He said, "We are taking forceful and rapid steps to moderate demand so it comes into better alignment with supply." Basically what he's saying is we need a recession to cool demand so that demand will be better in line with supply. Supply of money there, Jerome. Bottom line is, all of this stuff says the same thing, guys. It says we're going to have a recession and it isn't going to be pretty. Powell also said that the housing market would be headed for a correction, meaning housing market going to crash as it already is. And he said households and businesses would feel some pain, meaning all the best stuff. think of the people in the middle class and how they have their wealth. They have their money in their home, their equity. That's about to crash. There is crashing. They have their money in their 401ks. That's been going down all year. I mean, people are losing it all, guys. Their jobs now are going. We know the savings rate is negative. If you lose your 401k, you lose your home equity. What's left? Just the debt? Anyway, the stuff we've been saying, please be cautious, guys. Prime rate today up over 6%, first time since 2007. Rates are going to, this is going to cost borrowers. So maybe the idea of, I've been advising everybody, pleading almost, please, if you can in any way avoid it, don't add on new debt. Well, maybe these higher rates are going to do a better job with that message than I am, because taking on new debt is going to be painful. Anyway, that's what we got for today, guys. I appreciate your time and your support. As always, if you like what you're hearing, hit like. Ask me your questions in the comments section. If it's a little more complex or a little more personal, ask Chuck Barone at gmail.com. Check your subscriptions, guys. Our subscription numbers have been gyrating all over the place. Check and make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure your notifications are still on. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. We're going to wrap up the week. Take care until we talk then. Thanks.